Many people wonder why Michael Corleone seems so different in The Godfather Part 3. But what few understand at first glance is that this is not a mistake, nor an inconsistency. It is, in fact, the logical and tragic consequence of everything that happened at the end of Part 2. Michael's transformation is deep, physical, emotional, and narrative, and it is born from the very shadows he himself cultivated throughout his life. Come with me because it's worth taking a closer look at how and why this change happened, and what it truly means for the final fate of Michael Corleone. In the history of cinema, few characters have undergone a metamorphosis as deep, as painfully human, and as tragically inevitable as Michael Corleone. From the reserved young man who returned from the war insisting, "That's my family, Kay, it's not me," to the silent, iron-fisted patriarch feared by all. His journey is a moral opera where every act leaves scars that neither power nor time can erase. And in The Godfather, Part 3, that transformation reaches its final and most bitter movement. The difference between the Michael of the second film and the one we see in the third is so striking that, without context, he could almost seem like a different man. But he isn't. He is the same soul eroded by decades of guilt, loss, and decisions that shattered everything he once claimed to protect. In Part 2, Michael is ice. His face does not show anger or hatred, but something even more terrifying, the absolute certainty that he will do whatever is necessary. The final silence, with him sitting in the garden, motionless while the snow falls, is the ultimate image of a king condemned to rule a kingdom of shadows. The music, cold, distant, rising like a frozen lament, seals the moment. There in the snow, Michael is alive, but his humanity is dead. He becomes a ghost presiding over a world that no longer needs him, that Michael is eternal. Al Pacino plays him with almost supernatural restraint, as if every blink were a threat. His dark, slicked-back hair, his unreadable expression, his gaze that reveals nothing, all of it forms the mythical silhouette of a Don whose soul has sealed itself forever. But in Part 3, the impossible happens. The man who froze in the snow begins to thaw. Time catches up with him. Power loses its flavor. Conscience bites back. And Michael, now with shorter, more corporate hair, leaves behind the visual mythology of the classic mafioso. He is no longer the Dark Prince of Nevada. He dresses like a CEO, speaks like a businessman, moves like someone who is trying or pretending to abandon his criminal life. This visual shift is no accident. The short, military-like haircut evokes the young soldier he once was, perhaps a subconscious attempt to return to the only moment in his life when he was still clean. At the same time, it was a popular, modern look among powerful men of the 1980s, including real-life mobsters, making it the perfect mask for a Don who wants to appear as a respectable businessman. While Michael changes, Vincent does the opposite. He embraces the classic path, dark hair, traditional suits, the posture of a young predator. He becomes an echo of Vito, a preserved inheritance of the family line. Coppola uses him as a mirror. One tries to escape the family destiny, the other dives into it. One grows old trying to repair his sins. The other grows stronger by embracing the violence Michael can no longer carry. And yet, even with this warmer surface, Michael is still Michael. He speaks more, explodes more often, but every outburst is calculated, every word loaded with control and memory. Some say Pacino's energetic roles from that era influenced this more explosive tone, but within the story, these eruptions feel like the cracks of a man too exhausted to contain the volcano inside him. The emotional climax arrives in the final sequence. If Part 2 ends in ice, Part 3 ends in sun-bleached Sicilian dust. There sits Michael, alone, accompanied only by a dog, the last companion of a man who lost everyone. He is no longer the omnipotent Don. He is a fragile old man in a wooden chair, staring into a past that will never stop hurting him. The music, far from being cold, becomes a melancholic prayer, nostalgic, wounded. It does not freeze, it sighs. Michael is no longer frozen. He is empty. And that emptiness, this time he accepts. When the chair falls and his body collapses, there is no drama, no sudden revelation. Only a silent end without glory, without family, without full redemption. Michael dies as he lived, isolated. But unlike the end of Part 2, where the camera froze a demon, here we watch a man die. A man who sought desperately for a way out, who tried to purify himself too late, who allowed himself to feel when there was nothing left to rebuild. Thus closes the most complex arc in the saga, with Adon who, after being ice, fire, power, and shadow, ends simply as an old man crushed by the weight of his own history. The tragedy of Michael Corleone is not that he fell. The tragedy is that he tried to rise when no one remained to see him. Part 3 arrived in theaters burdened by impossible expectations. After two masterpieces considered pillars of world cinema, any attempt to continue the Corleone saga was destined to be compared against perfection. And that's exactly what happened. Many viewers and critics at the time argued that the third installment did not reach the same level of narrative precision, dramatic density, or visual brilliance as its predecessors. However, with time, a more balanced and thoughtful reading reveals that The Godfather, Part 3 fulfills an essential purpose: to close Michael Corleone's arc with emotional power and coherent storytelling. The film does not try to compete with the grandeur of the earlier chapters. Instead, it offers a somber, human, and melancholic epilogue. Michael's transformation from an omnipotent leader to an aging man confronting the moral consequences of his choices is portrayed with a rare honesty in gangster cinema. The movie preserves the moral ambiguity that has always defined him. Michael remains calculating and cold in his decisions, yet he is no longer the dark king of the past. He is a weary man seeking redemption, fully aware that it may already be too late. His final solitude in Sicily, warmer and more nostalgic than the emotional ice of Part 2's ending, perfectly encapsulates the cost of a life devoted to power. Although many still regard it as the weakest entry in the trilogy, a growing number of viewers now see The Godfather, Part 3 as a worthy, tragic, and deeply human conclusion. It may not be perfect, but it offers something equally valuable, a necessary ending, allowing Michael Corleone's story to conclude where it always should have, without glory, but with silence, guilt, and one final breath of humanity. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share this video. But before you go, let me ask you something. Do you think Michael Corleone ever truly found peace at the end? Or was his fate sealed the moment he accepted the throne of Doan? Does the third film do justice to his legacy? Or do you prefer to remember him frozen in the darkness of Part 2? Was Michael's transformation a form of redemption? Or an inevitable punishment? Tell me in the comments which interpretation feels the most powerful to you.